Good morning, everyone out there in YouTube. It's Charlie here at Partickhill Station, and welcome back. I know it's been a while since I did a live broadcast, and I'm just hoping that it all goes well. As you know, in the past, I've had some issues with audio and whatever else. I haven't always been able to resolve them. Yeah, now how's that? You might hear a little bit of an echo, but you should be able to hear me now. Anyway, I hope you guys are well. Yeah, that's good. I know what the issue is there. There's just a little bit of an echo. I can hear it here. So, how are things over there in the UK and down there in Dundas, James? I know it's not snowing here in Richmond Hill. Just want to check this again. You know, I always make sure that I'm using the iPhone, and that often has that problem with an echo. I had something plugged into it, but it hasn't really taken care of that problem. Anyway, just getting a little bit of a delay there. So you're working on the layout, James. I've seen a couple of your videos recently. Everything moving along okay? Oh, really? Getting rain? I don't think there's any rain forecasted for up here. It's supposed to be maybe cloudy with rain tomorrow. I guess it all depends where you are. So, Mark, your layout's coming on leaps and bounds. Doing great stuff there. I'm just going to pop and try and get a set of earbuds for that camera. I'll be back in a second. Back again. Just plugged in some earphones. I'll just hang on a second here. It's going out. There. Hopefully that's improved. You know, my wife sometimes borrows my earphones or my connector for the iPhone, and when I need it, I have to search around the house, try and find it. Oh, James, what you're seeing here is my laptop, and over there, viewing the station, is my iPhone. Now, I have these two other webcams. I'll just put this on here for the moment. They're both Logitech, good quality cameras. The problem is, using Streamyard, and I'm even paying the $25 a month, it's limited in terms of what cameras you can attach and how many. What I was doing for a while was I would hook up my camera, and I would do that as it is done at the moment by invite, and that would work okay. So then I bought one of these hubs to plug into my laptop. You can't see it, but Zmooping or something like that, and it allows you to put in. It's like an adapter that facilitates additional cameras and such like to go onto your laptop. Now, yeah, Logitech Capture, yeah, it's a bit disappointing. So anyway, I would have a couple of extra cameras running, and then one of them would freeze, and the other one would just drop off. So that was extremely frustrating. And I think the only way to resolve that with StreamYard is to pay the $50 a month, which I'm not prepared to do because Alan Reynolds, good morning. How are things down there in Dover? Yeah, we're just talking about cameras, Alan, and whether they work or don't work, what it's going to cost you or what it's not going to cost you. And in my particular case, I'm paying that $25 a month to get the little bit of additional service out of StreamYard. But it's still frustrating. And I drop them a note every now and again and say, hey guys, I'm not getting a lot in return for this. Can you help out in any way? And what I was doing was I would set it up I'd, I'd have a camera running, and then I would open up a second session and log in and attach another camera to that second session. Now, it worked for a while, but then I would have problems with it. So I contacted Streamyard and said, hey, this is what I'm doing as a workaround. What do you think? And they said, no, that won't work. So I know that OBS is regarded as a superior system, and a number of the guys are using it, but it is techno heavy, as they would say. Lee, good morning. How's things down there at Anfield Road? I guess your team's playing tomorrow and you're hoping for the best outcome. What are you doing today, Lee? Edinbridge Junction, good morning. Or I really should say good afternoon. I have to remember you guys are, for the most part, 5 hours ahead of us here. And Lee, what are you building? Yeah, so there's always a downside, right? Now, here's a question, maybe you can answer it. I tune into the Monday Club. Now, I don't always see many guys that I know. I'm not sure that why that is. Maybe it's the time of day. Maybe they're watching something else. I don't really know what's going on there, but I see the odd one like Flymo. Sometime I'm not sure about Digger. I see Alan. Alan in the loft. I see him every now and again, but not too many. And as I say, I'm not really sure what the story is behind that. However, they seem to have nailed the system. I think they're using OBS, and they have, well, in some cases, 100 people participating in the chat line. Now, how they've done that, I'm not sure, because if OBS doesn't really facilitate it, how are they getting in there? They're running straight on YouTube. I'm not sure. So maybe you can get back to me on that. It's a question I've wondered. Maybe I should go to OBS. Is there any benefit to doing that? I'm not really sure, and the answers remain out there, and so I would appreciate your input. I'm just going to go single here and go full screen for a minute, and then I'll bring in my little diorama that, if you've been watching, you will have noticed that it is finished. So you can get the best shot without it falling over. Yeah, so the flock of sheep are in there, and the train spotter and his wee boy. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. And we've got the guy in the footplate there. And here is the beast that made it all possible. It's a tea strainer and a modified bug zapper. It was less than $10. I might have paid $7 or $8 for it, I can't remember, but it was certainly less than $10, and it works. So I was very happy with that and how it worked out. All right, so here we go. Bit too hectic for my liking. Mark says, not really sure what he's referring to there, but probably OBS. And as Alan goes on to say, OBS is a very complicated bit of kit. The chat section is delivered by YouTube. Okay, so that's what that would explain when you get into the Monday Club and you see a whole list of people on there. Here, you're limited. I don't know whether $25 a month. I don't know if it's 10 or 20. I can't recall. But if I went out and went into, well, I wouldn't need to go out, but if I went into YouTube, I don't know if I could do that. I'm just going to check this to see what's on there. Yeah. All right, so well, it's the same people, and there's a bit of a delay. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed that, but it's the same number of people that are watching. But there's a bit of delay between me speaking and the audio coming back. And there's a delay of a couple of seconds there. But it would appear that you might be able to do Streamyard, and depending where you're running it from. In my particular case, as I said, I'm running it from my laptop. Now, what I could do is have my iPad on the side open in YouTube and would be reading the chat while I go like this, full screen. So that's another way of doing it. And that way you would probably get more people on the chat line that you can interact with while using StreamYard and not going the complicated route of OBS. I think it would all sort of come together and fall in place if there was a simple solution without additional cost to have, let's say, 2 cameras running through Streamyard. I don't think you need, like, with all due respect to Anthony Dodge, it's spectacular. He's got about, I'm exaggerating, but like 20 cameras on there, and he's just making use of the technology and broadcasting as much as possible. On a personal note, I think, maybe for my layout, two additional cameras would be great, because I can have this one filming the station as the trains go through, and I can maybe we'll just look here. I would maybe put one in here under the bridge, which is a nice scene. And then, I might have one up at that end of the layout. Now, talking of which, and I'm just going to change this for a second. So this is what's next. I'm going to take a point and put it in here, and that will run out into the scrapyard, and I'll get that area cleared up, and I'll have a fence running along the other side of the outside track. So that will kind of finish up that corner. The other thing is, I've been delinquent in working on this, which is my shuttle service. I have to connect these two wires, which go back to either this point or that point. I think it's that point. And once I get that hooked up, then I have to hook up this controller, and I need to hook up a 5-volt service. So I've got an adapter for that. I just have to get it up here and make it work. And most likely, in order to accomplish that, I'll need to call on my oracle, Tom Houston. Haunted Halloween Railway. Well, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Partickhill Station. I've seen you out there in the chat lines, and not sure where you're from, but welcome here to the Toronto area, where I've got Partickhill Station set up here. Yeah, so, here's another thing. Earlier today, I was watching Big Al at Dragon Junction. And, Alan was talking about, he got COVID, his whole family got COVID. And I sent him a note saying, we were on a cruise from Auckland, New Zealand to Sydney, Australia last year. It was another time. We were on a cruise last year from Istanbul to Rio de Janeiro. Now, it was a big ship, probably 4,000 passengers or thereabouts. And we were fully masked with the N95 3M masks. And what we noticed was that everybody else was coughing and spluttering with no masks. So, I went to the doctor and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he said, "Sorry, we recommend people wear masks, but we can't control it." So we were on board for 24 days to make that crossing. And my wife got COVID first out of the four of us that were traveling together. And she was knocked down for about 5 days. And then a female friend, she got it pretty bad for more than a week. And then I got it for about 3 days and it was pretty mild. And my buddy didn't get it at all. So it just shows you, it just shows you that you never know, and you can take all the precautions available, but you can still get it. And it's not over yet. Proof in the pudding is Big Al. Here we are, December 2023, and his family got COVID, and it sounded pretty bad. And I was very sorry to hear that. Anyway, the other thing that Big Al was speaking about was the humidity problem. Now, as you know, he's in a shed and his lines go outside the shed, complete the circle, and he was getting a lot of drafts coming through those portals. So he used sponges to fill up those cavities when he wasn't there. And that was a great idea. But today, when he posted that, he had 90% humidity. And that's unbelievable. 90%. In relative terms, the water should have been running down the walls. But it doesn't always work that way. But what you can find is you get movement and distortion. And in Big Al's case, he noted that, and he showed a mark that he had made on his wall for his table, and it had gone down about 1/4 of an inch. Now, that means you could end it up with a slope at one end. I'm not sure how it completely impacted it, but you can find gaps opening up, a little bit of warping, especially if you in the summer over in the UK, if you ever get summer. What happens, as you know, is that your loft, if that's where you got your railway, gets very, very hot, because you don't have anything to allow that heat to disperse out through the roof. You may have it insulated, but the heat is confined and it just gets too hot and humid. And the body heat and the electrical equipment create more heat. Stuart Macaulay. Hey, Stuart, you are dead right. How did you know that? Yeah, what a result, man. Just unbelievable. This is for you, Stuart. Right? I don't know if you can see that properly, but Yeah, there. Yeah. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Yeah, for sure. I'll be there. um, so, yeah, actually, Stuart, I posted a little video. I go downtown to watch the games at the supporters club at a pub downtown in Toronto. So I make these little videos of me driving down there, going to the subway, that journey, getting out, and then going to the Madison. And I post them in different places. Some I'm not allowed to mention because it's a secret, if you know what I mean. Anyway, back to the railways. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so the whole humidity thing can create issues and challenges for the model railway enthusiast. And there you go, Stuart. This one's for you. Anyway, that's one of a kind. Okay, Alan, you have to go now as I'm hosting a party this evening. I'm the cook too. Oh, have a great time, Alan. What's on the menu? And thanks so much as usual for dropping by. I can always count on you, Al. Yeah, that's terrific. So, in my situation here, I'm in the basement. Across the hallway is the furnace room. So in the furnace room, I've got the forced air heating system and air conditioning system. And, there's ducts throughout the house providing heat and cool air. So with the cool air, it tends to dry up the humidity, and that works in my favor when it comes to the model railway. So let's just see. Just go back out here. Yeah. So, Stuart, I don't know, on my tenement buildings upstairs. I should have put it up here before I came in. You can check in the other videos about the tenement building that I built at 1:76 scale, and it usually sits up on the town scene there above the tunnels. Anyway, you may recognise it. So the whole humidity thing is a concern, and you should all be aware of it and check. And what you might want to consider doing is buying a small dehumidifier. When you find that it's getting humid in your attic, just get a small dehumidifier, turn it on whenever you're up there, and it will suck out all the moisture very rapidly, actually. You would get pails of it if the humidity is bad, but it will certainly enhance the running of your layout. So, yeah, and I've got a couple of other things that I'm planning to do. You might have seen on my channel. I'm going to build from scratch another tenement building, but using plastic card. And the reason I'm doing that is Boomer's diorama. If you don't know Boomer, he's a model railroad enthusiast, lives in British Columbia. His background is TV and film. He was a designer on sets and model making and rich history of all that kind of stuff. And he has the most fabulous shelf layout you've ever seen. And if you have not seen it, I would highly recommend that you go and check him out because you'll learn all kinds of stuff from Boomer. And a great guy. So he builds all of his buildings out of styrene, plastic card, because he says you get that's real modelling. He's not into making them from paper and card like most of us are. And here's an example. I scratch built this cement works from grey card, cardboard tube, and papers that I downloaded, and it looks very effective, and it doesn't require a lot of skill. But Boomer prefers to do everything, as I say, on plastic card. Let's see, corned beef hash and rice pudding. Well, have a great time, Alan. Wait a minute, I just lost it. John Nutman. Well, welcome, John Nutman, to Partickhill Station. I apologise. I'm not familiar with your name. I'll certainly be after this because I'll go in and search you. Maybe you can tell us where you're from and what you're doing. It's always interesting to hear where everyone else is and what they're up to. Yeah. So, yeah, most certainly go and check out Boomer's dioramas because, Southampton. I have cousins in Southampton. I was in Southampton, try to think, probably 1980. My aunt was still living at that time, and her family lived there. My aunt was my mother's sister in Glasgow, and she got married to a guy, moved to Southampton. Anyway, they're big Saints fans, of course, and often wonder what's happened to that young lad Joe Aribo, who was just an outstanding player for Rangers and was in the Europa Cup final, scored our goal, etc., etc. And he's sitting on the bench down there in Southampton. Yeah, the other. Southampton Model Railway Society. Oh, excellent, John. The other connection I have with Southampton is I served my time as a draftsman in John Brown Shipyard, and I worked for a short period of time on the QE2. And so when it left, I thought, I'll never see it again. Well, lo and behold, I travelled down to Southampton, and she's docked there, picking up passengers. And I took a load of photographs of it, and just as she's pulling away from the quay, I go and try and get a full-length shot, and I'm out of film. That was in the days before iPhones. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, so I must ask my cousins if they know John Nutman. Um, I don't think they're model railway fans, but you never know. Yeah. So um, I'll, ha- I'll have a look at the society. Do they have their own facilities? Have their own club layout? Uh, the only thing that's left there, no, John. I'm talking about the QE2. The QE2 is still sailing. Um, well, still sailing. It's actually out. I think it's out in Dubai, and has been replaced by the Queen Victoria, Queen Mary 2, etc. Um, uh, the anchor might have come from the Queen Elizabeth or, or the Queen Mary. Um, yeah, that'd be interesting to know, John. Anyway, so your club, you've got a clubhouse, I'm guessing, and um, you work on the layout, or do you have your own at home, and you go there and run trains on the larger layout? I guess that's what most people would do. Um, so for this layout here, John, just for your interest, I'm going to go to um, I'll go to a solo one here for a second. Okay, so the layout is approximately 9 feet wide by 10 feet long, and there's two main tracks with a four-track station. I called it Partickhill because uh, I grew up in Partick in Glasgow's West End, and there was a station there originally named Partickhill, then changed to Partick many years ago. Um, I put the tunnels in because Queen Street Station in Glasgow has a tunnel from which the trains enter and exit into the station. And I've kind of reversed that. I've got the main street above the station here and building this town area over the top of the tunnel. And I'm building a shuttle here that will run all the way around, like so, and back into this location here. And at this end, I have the two main tracks, plus I have two loops in each direction, and that allows me to store some stock um, and bring them in and out. So I don't have a kind of dedicated fiddle yard. Uh, it's a simple design. I probably didn't know any better, but it works, and I continually try to improve on it. Now, this bridge here, I based that on Tony Northeastern's build he made. I was watching the build that he'd done, and I said, "Well, I can do that." An old draftsman, so I got my tools out, I laid it out, and then I cut everything out from mat board, which is used for the mat around paintings and sketches. It's just dense material, and it's very suitable for that. A little bit of warping because of the amount of glue that was used, but that's okay. I can live with that. And here's a Clyde puffer that I'm working on, still in a state of construction. Here's some of the additional stock that I've got. Some odds, bits and pieces. I've got this collection of Great British Railways that were issued by Hachette, and if you got their magazine every fortnight, you would get a local or something in it. So I've got a collection of those static models, but they look pretty good and would look great anywhere on somebody's layout. I'm just trying to read John's note here. The only thing is left of her now is the anchor. Okay. Unfortunately, my mum and dad are now in care. So that means that the railway in the loft has to be dismantled, which is almost has. Well, I guess they were, the layout was in your parents' loft, I'm guessing. So yes, I did have a loft layout, which is actually on my YouTube channel, which I'll search out later today. Oh, Newland Railway. Hey, Clive, how are you doing? What did you get in the mail today? That was a massive pool that you got the other day. Just unbelievable. Choberton Junction. Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, Edenbridge, that happens with the Wi-Fi. I run on Wi-Fi, but the service is very, very good. I have cable, which is piped in through a router, and the televisions pick it up, and they provide Wi-Fi, so I just hook it up. The router's just in the other room, so the service is great throughout the house, and that's through the 3 floors. So I rarely have problems with it dropping off, but I have empathy with you because it has happened in the past. So Choberton, I've seen you in the other channels through the week. Where are you from, and what are you up to today? Newland just chased up a seller, sent me, I've got to see this, sent me 7 items instead of the 9 in the picture. So the 2 missing have turned up today. Oh, well, you're lucky that they actually turned up. It could have gone the other way. You know, I know you're planning to build a layout. It better be massive, because the amount of stuff that you've acquired in the last year or 2 is just unbelievable, mind-boggling. You know, when I was working, deepest South UK kit bashing, L-cut engine shed. South UK, so it could be anywhere from Essex to Cornwall, something like that. And Aidenbridge, I am watching through my phone, mate. It's normal. Spot on, to be honest. Currently weathering 3 Shell oil tankers. Oh, I'll just. Okay, so I'll go on to go on here for a second. So there's 2 tankers. Now, this one here, I weathered with a combination of ink pens that I use for my artwork on Instagram. Now, these are fine tip ink pens, waterproof. So kind of stippled it on, and then what I did was I used crushed pastel powders and dabbed it on over the top, and then I sealed it all with a matte spray, and it worked out great. So there's the untouched version, and here's the weathered rusted one, which I was very happy with. So it's amazing what you can do. And I did a short video on how to do this. You might want to give it a look. Interesting stuff. Amazing what you can do. And West Sussex, yeah, okay, that's good. Nice part of the country. So John, let's just see, managed to save all of the stock and has managed to get a friend to look after it. Oh, but it's nice to look at other people's layout and run some stock at the club. Yeah, absolutely. Here, I belong to a group called the Plate Layer Society. And what they do is, presently, they have a monthly online meeting. They issue a monthly newsletter. They have a model railway show. It was run every 2 years up until COVID. Let's get this sorted. So they ran it every 2 years up until COVID, and then COVID sort of finished. We'll try and do this once a year. And it's held in a hockey arena. And they get groups from around Ontario, maybe Ottawa and Niagara Falls, and a couple in between. And the odd time they get the Calgary Model Railway Club to come in from out west, which is quite a feat because that's 2,500 miles away or kilometers. And they show up for that. So the Plate Layer Society often, or they try to get a member to host a meeting with a layout. But for me, it wouldn't work because I don't have a lift out section. And, you know, there's a door. So it doesn't really work for a large group. And what you're wearing? Oh, well, that's great, John. You know, I've watched all kinds of people do all kinds of stuff. And by far, I am not an expert on anything. But what I will do is I will give everything a go. Now, I am a bit on the artistic side. And if you get into my uh, other channel, my Instagram channel, which is Charlie McGowan 1104. There you'll see all my artwork, and I also put the model railway on there as well. Now, there's pics on my community page. As I said, I'm not an expert, but I'll give anything a try. I'll just try this. So I scratch built this little tender to go behind the pug. A little bicycle in there as well. So anything works. And we should all, excuse me, we should all be feeding off each other. And, you know, that's how it works, I think, right? So I'm happy to hear that you've watched a few videos and tried some of them out. Now, this is what I based that on. I did this, I don't know, a year or two ago, and I thought I should make this into a diorama, and that's what I did. I took all the elements you see there and dropped them in there. And here's something else you would be familiar with. That is an Anderson bomb shelter, which you might still find in many backyards in England. And that's made out of tinfoil. And I have a little tool that I purchased from a company in Melbourne that allows me to make corrugated sheets, just like that. Although that's 1:87 scale, but you wouldn't really know the difference. So as I say, I'm willing to give anything a go, challenge myself, and achieve something. We'll change things up a little bit here. Give me a second. Not sure what's going on, but I guess the power went out in the one line. Not sure what's happening there. I'll turn it off and we'll check it later. Electricity is something I'm not that familiar with. At a club we go every Wednesday and Friday, and we are building Seaton Junction. Wow. Yeah, that's great, John, that you get that opportunity to go to a club and get a bit of camaraderie and share knowledge and ideas. I'm like a sort of lone wolf here. On the subject of, talking about what's running around right now, those are the old Triang car carriers, complete with the original cars. And if you remember John's Amazing Trains, now, I was in touch with John at one time when he was running his YouTube channel. And John did, if I get this thing out, okay, so I'll get this up here. Some of you have probably seen this, but that's an old Triang Hornby R965 controller. And what John did was he modified it by putting a larger heatsink in and changing a couple of wires down here, and modified the wiring in the back. Now, I followed it and diligently, and I was able to replicate what he'd done. And what he would do is he was able to control all his older Triang locomotives and get them crawling, and it actually worked using these controllers. So in one of his videos, under his table, he's got 5 of them lined up. They're all hooked up to a bus bar. And that's where I got the idea from. Now, those car carriers, in one of his videos, he said, these car carriers are not very stable. They rock around too much. They don't ride very well. So I'm going to demonstrate how we fix that. And he did. And what he went on to do was he put a new bolt, or he drilled through the rivet at either end of the carrier and fitted a bolt with a nut and a washer and glued it in place and added new wheels. And he got these wheels, the ones that he was using, from Lilliput. Now, at the time, I tried to get them from Lilliput, but didn't have any luck. And John said, yeah, I think what's happened is they have realised that people are trying to get these wheels, so we're going to hold back on the supply. Well, that's always good to know, John. We'll just leave that up there for a while. Anyway, I went ahead and did it, and I found wheels. I think I got them from China, and I was very specific in what I was looking for. They had to be a certain diameter, of course, so you didn't get ones with a big flange. And as you can see, they run perfectly well, and they don't rock around on the track. So, as I said, I was communicating with John, spoke with him a couple of times on the phone. He had disappeared off the end of the earth, and it was reported by some people on the internet that John had passed away. It was completely untrue. First of all, he had lost his cell phone, and then he got sick, and then he had problems with his eyes, and very despondent. And because his eyesight was affected, he said he didn't want to do the model railway because he couldn't see it clearly, whatever. And he said to me that, well, I might sell off the collection and move to Australia. Now, that was just around the time when COVID appeared on the scene. And John had a lifelong friend that lives in, it's either Melbourne or Sydney, and his plan was to go there. Now, you know what it's like when you get telephone numbers and email and you try to keep them sorted. Well, I lost John's cell number, which was also connected to WhatsApp, which was his preferred way of communicating. Okay, James, we'll see you later. Thanks so much for dropping by. Really appreciate it. And I'll get on and see what's happening at your site. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. So, I searched and couldn't put it together to get back in touch with him. But what I did do was I sent him a Christmas card at the last known address that I had, and that was where he was living at the time. And hopefully he got the card. Now, I know that he was selling his collection on eBay, and he said that one CN local, one of the big long shunters that he's got, the transcontinental ones, which was a high demand item, a lady in Niagara Falls of all places scooped that. So I've been searching around on eBay, but I can't find where he's listing or where he had listed his equipment. I can only guess that he's moved on because, you know, I sent that card maybe 10 days ago, and I think he would have already had received it. if he was still there. Now, whether he was able to read it, respond, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's moved on to Australia. If he has, hopefully that letter will be forwarded to him. And, you know, I wish him all the best. And I do believe that I have his friend's contact information. I think his friend's name was Mervyn. And I also think that they were both in business together in the electronics company that they ran, where they made speakers and receivers and different stuff. Because John, as you know, was a bit of an electronics whiz. And that's why he was able to do the things that he had done. Anyway, guys, look, I've been on for an hour and 11 minutes, problem-free, and it's been great speaking with you. And I'm so glad that you dropped by. Yeah, John, any time that I'm up and running, I'd like to see you back here. And please have a look around and see what's happening in both the YouTube channel and in Instagram, and let me know what you think, see what you like, and check out Boomer's diorama. And that goes to everybody out there, because it's such a wealth of knowledge and information. Boomer certainly is. Anyway, so from here on, I don't think I'll be able to post anything before Christmas. We're heading off to sunnier climes, and my communication might be sporadic, but I'll do my best to keep in touch and find trains of all shapes and sizes, and I'll be posting on that. In the meantime, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope you get the train you're wishing for Christmas. And we'll see you next time here at Partickhill Station. Hey, hi, sorry, just all ready to close shop, and you pop in. Okay, Stuart, managers. Yeah. All right, Stuart. Okay, sorry, hi. I know there's other people out there waiting or are currently posting their live YouTube. So I've had my hour and a bit, and I'm going to jump off and let them go. So hi, thanks very much for taking the time to drop by. Come again another time. And Choberton Junction, John Nutman, James at Dundas, Mark Hemel Down, Edenbridge, Clive at Newland, Alan Reynolds, he's gone, Stuart Macaulay for sure, Alan Reynolds, yes, and anybody else that's lurking in the background. We'll see you probably next year here at Partickhill Station, and we'll just let this one run out. Bye for now.